Saturday edition of Your Wildest Fantasy Football Show. Not really covering any fantasy stuff today, just here to make a quick announcement on our scheduling going forward. As we talked about, I think for pretty much the past week, we are going back from 4 days a week to 2 days a week with a new kind of concept to help people down the stretch. Less to talk about as far as value is concerned. We talk a lot about the value of certain players and trading high or buying low and selling high and kind of that stuff. Less of that to talk about now that the deadline has passed by. And can kind of cut back a little bit, still trying to help you guys get that fantasy crown. So, what is our schedule going to be going forward? That is why we are here today to discuss this. Also, this is going up as a video after the fact, just so everyone kind of knows. If they're like, why aren't they on today? They can refer back to this. So, the new schedule going forward is going to be Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, like we normally are. No Mondays, Tuesdays, 1 o'clock. We will do our waiver discussion, and then we will have a revolving kind of topic of like what we want to talk about, whether that is going to be strength of schedule for the week, whether that is going to be like strength of schedule for the playoffs, I think is what I meant to say the first time. Or like players that may make an impact lower down in like waivers that you might not pick up, but like speculative guys that like you can look at. Just other kind of topics that we can cover, maybe some defenses to like see who has the best playoff schedule, who's hot, who's not, any other kind of revolving thing, maybe even a food topic, who knows. And then we will not be here on Wednesdays, which we typically aren't. We will not be here on Thursdays or Fridays or Saturdays for that matter. This will be the lone Saturday episode. And should that count for something, I say yes. But we will be back on Sundays starting next week from 11:30 to 12:30, taking all of your questions, all of your start sit considerations. We will be trying to help with those as best as we can, which I guess is quite relative, depending on what you think about our skill levels in deciding your start sits. But we'll be trying, and that should also count for something. So the schedule will be basically, in short, Tuesdays, 1 o'clock until whenever we finish. Talk waivers, talk a revolving topic, and then Sundays start sits for 11:30 to 12:30. I do see we have some comment action already, so I will try to respond. So I can take extras love in it, and that's really what matters for me. Number one in our fan power rankings, if you were not aware of that. Also, everyone loves a good food topic every now and then. If there's any considerations for what food topics we should cover, should definitely share those with us in the comments, or any consideration for anything that you want us to cover that would be the most helpful for you going forward. Because that's kind of what this is about. We try to cater it to what would be the most helpful for all y'all. A forever. That's the one thing that we can offer. We do not have talent. We do not have great insight. We do not have possibly, like, I would even say the best looks, if that factors into it. But we have great effort. And that's something that we bring on a consistent basis sometimes. Where's Toady? It's a long story. So give me a second for me to think of a backstory for this. Toady, on the weekends, people don't really know this. We don't make money through doing this. It is just a venture of love. And on the weekends, that's kind of where Toady brings in the dough for, I want to say both of us, but maybe all of us, including those in the chat as well. Toady is actually just like a crab guy. He goes out. He doesn't go out into the sea. He just kind of goes onto the shore and he'll like just dip his arm in and just see what he can pull out. Most of the time it's crabs. So Cody, big crab guy. I don't know if that's like a formal announcement that I expected to make on the show, but yeah, Cody has crabs. Because that's what he does for a living. He literally gets crabs. So, yeah. Favorite grocery store is a very good topic that I would like to do when Toady is here. That is a good one. Knox, Brita, or Boyd. I actually just recorded a video. I don't know if it's going to come out this week. It might just be like a sample video for future weeks. But I talk about how I would try to avoid Tyler Boyd this week. I would go Knox. He would be my choice there, as I'm not really sure how much we trust Breida. Kind of talked about that on Friday. Not feeling the Breida train yet. Colts -10 against the Texans. I'm probably staying away from that, to be honest. I feel like it's a division game. It's probably I could see them covering. They should cover, but I would try to stay away from it if possible. If I had to choose one, then I would probably take that. Favorite sandwich is also one that I would like to save for when Cody's here, although he won't see this. If we're going like just a classic sandwich, and sometimes I think people it would be easy to say like a club because that has everything. Obviously, like ham, turkey, roast beef, or like even people who say like ham, turkey, bacon, like that kind of stuff. I think that's too much. If I'm going like just a classic sandwich, I don't know if it's my favorite, but like a classic ham and cheese, you can just not go wrong with ham, cheese, mustard. Oh, IHOP Waffle House. I've never been to a Waffle House, so I cannot. I also can't tell you the last time I've been to an IHOP. I can tell you the last time I've been to a Denny's, though. That is a good story. So I went to Denny's when I was 5 for breakfast, I presume. And you know what? As a 5-year-old, you got a tiny tummy. That's just kind of something you have to deal with as a child. And sometimes you can't finish all the food that's brought out to you. And I didn't finish all the food that was brought out to me in that circumstance, again, because I was a child with a tiny tummy. As I don't want to reveal too much about myself, but I'm still like a more slender guy. And not in the aspect of like a horror movie character being Slender Man, but just like in my physique. So the waitress came out after the meal, saw that I didn't finish everything, and she said verbatim to a 5-year-old child, maybe even younger, to be honest. Oh, looks like someone didn't finish all their food. Guess they're not having dessert. That's kind of like screwed up. First off, like waitress at Denny's, like I don't think that's your place to decide whether I have dessert or not. Also, it makes you more money if I do have dessert because brings the bill up, gives you bigger tip. And also like that's just not it was kind of mean. I kind of like took it as a personal slight against me. So I will never go to a Denny's again. See, second take extra. Now, 5-year-old me, she was making a joke at my expense, I think is the thing. She was making a joke, but it wasn't like a joke I was supposed to laugh at. I think it's a joke that like my dad and whoever else was there with me at the time was supposed to laugh at, and it was supposed to be just like taking it out on me, which I think taking out any, whether it be like a microaggression, a like passive aggression on a 5-year-old child, not something I want to associate with Denny's. How do I like my meats cooked? I like them cooked. What's Hurt's status? Jets win if no Hurts. Second take extra, big Jets guy. But I'm sure there's no bias in that. What is Hurts' status? Also, do you think Hendo plays? So Hurts, last that I have seen, is still questionable just going into the game. We don't really know much more than that. And he split the reps this week. So not like questionable he's going to play, but questionable and it's really up in the air. I don't want to like say that I think he's going to play or that I think he's not because I have no idea, but I would just keep a close eye on the reports there as for what is to be expected of him. At least he plays in the 1:00 games. So going to be able to figure it out earlier and not have to wait until the 4:00 window and, miss out on all of the 1:00 quarterbacks. Kind of the not the same thing with Darrell Henderson, questionable, and he plays at 4:00. He did return to practice as a limited participant on Friday, questionable for the game. A little bit more like confident. I think you're starting whatever running back is the lead running back for the Rams against Jacksonville. Just kind of a great opportunity there in a matchup. So I don't know for sure that he plays, but I think you're starting the lead guy in that Rams backfield, regardless of whom it is. So I'm not like really concerned too much because unless you don't have the handcuff, then that's pretty negative. But like if you listen to us throughout, we kind of talk about the importance of handcuffs. So like I think it's going to be fine regardless of who starts. Which quarterback has the lowest PKP percentage? What's a PKP? I'm getting taught new things on the show. That's what I love. That's what I love about it. PKP percentage football stats. I don't even know what PKP means. So I can't answer that, unfortunately. I would like to. Jacobs, Barkley, Javonte need one. Well, I just recorded a video where I said I would consider starting Javonte over Saquon. So I feel really bad. Like I feel very bad and just in kind of my fear of feeling bad, I would probably start Barkley, but I think it might be the smarter decision to start Javonte. I don't know if that made it clear for you at all. I think Javonte is going to be better, but I'd also be pissed if I had Barkley on the bench and he went off and Javonte let me down. Yeah, I wouldn't start Sony in that circumstance either. So that's a very good good situation. Story time with Wakanda. I would love to do more stories. If people would be gracious enough to listen to them. Which quarterbacks will make the most well-thrown and less pickable passes? I mean, I'm too dumb to answer that question. I'm going to be very frank with you. I have no idea. I went on a rant last show where I just looked at the 100 most cliche football phrases and used them to explain what happened with Tony Pollard and Zeke on Thursday. I'm not smart enough to make that prediction, unfortunately. The second take extra. I appreciate your belief in me as a smart person. But I unfortunately cannot live up to those expectations. That news will be coming out pretty soon. I recorded a video. I don't know if it's going to be used yet. So that's kind of up in the air. I've kind of slacked. I did it a little bit last minute. So yeah, I didn't slack. I've had a lot of stuff going on. Second take extra might be interested. I have a couple other things going on besides this show. Not to just plug my own stuff while Cody's not around, but I'm going to plug my own stuff like while Cody isn't around. New song coming out next week. New song called Never Be in Love with You. Is it a serious song? I think so. But it is a song. You can save it, pre-save on Spotify. You check out my Instagram, Ryan_Condo. Pre-save link to that new song is in my bio. Comes out next Friday. I will talk about it on Tuesday as well. Also, starting this new podcast called A Serious Sports Show. New episode of that coming out next week as well. And the teaser episode came out last week. So yeah, I have a couple other things going on if you are interested in the condo content. And then I will say more about the video or the videos, hopefully, when they come out. I think Javonte is probably the right choice over Saquon in a twisted universe of things that I did not want to say and still do not want to say, because if Saquon goes off, then it's like, of course Saquon goes off. It's Saquon. But I think Javonte is probably where we're at now, probably the smarter play for this week. But yeah, who you got winning the college football, is that title? That's a good question. Or today. Well, I got to look up all the matchups for today. I know I was supposed to go somewhere and watch the game that's on right now. I have not been able to do that. I would love to see Baylor win today. Just kind of mess everything up. Same thing with would Alabama still be in if they get beat by Georgia? I would just love to see as much chaos as possible. I really don't have a dog in the fight anymore. I don't know if that's a term that I should use now that I think about it, but a horse in the race is a little bit better, even though. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm just a sad Texas fan, but I think Michigan would be. It would be cool to see Cincinnati take it. Part of me hopes that Michigan loses to Iowa again just for chaos. I'm just a fan of chaos in all situations, as you could probably tell by me choosing to do this show on a daily basis. So that's what we're rooting for today. We probably won't be on during March Madness, but at least with this show, hopefully with some of the other content I do, at least I'll be able to talk about it a bit. Who doesn't love March Madness? It's one of the best times of the year. I don't know if this is going on. That's probably another announcement, is for the podcast people. I'm not sure if this is going to be going up as a podcast going forward, because we would only do kind of the Tuesday edition. If that is something that you're like, oh, I listen to this podcast all the time and I don't want the podcast version to be going away, then please reach out to one of us, either me or Cody, on socials like Instagram, or check out our YouTube channel and reach out to us on there, even though I don't view that as much as I should. But yeah, reach out and tell us that you want us to keep the podcast around, and we will. It's a little bit of an expense for us, so that's kind of why for one kind of episode a week, we probably wouldn't do it unless you guys really want it from us. Then we're fine with that. But if we do get rid of the podcast, feel free to watch us on YouTube or Twitch, where we are always posting and all of our stuff gets recorded too. So Second Take Extra. Last thing before I go off here, I was planning on this being a 5-minute video. It's turned into a 20-minute video because of course it has. Second Take Extra. 99.6% correct bracket and knows nothing about March Madness. Yeah. It's better to be lucky than good. And I think that's probably safe to say, especially for March Madness, but in most circumstances as well. Anyways, that is it for this quick announcement video that has turned into a 20-minute video. We will be back next Tuesday to break down waivers for y'all and talk about something else. What do you want that something else to be? That would be a cool thing to comment below. Tell us what you want to hear from us. Again, what's the most helpful for you guys going down the final stretch of the season? Let us know, and we will see y'all Tuesday and Sundays for the rest of the season.